Alright, hey guys, what's up? It's another Monday, and you know what that means. It's another Murderous Monday. And I talk about killers, and I upload every Monday, hence the name. And this case is a 2-for-1 special. It's about the Ken and Barbie killers. Paul Bernardo and Karla Homolka. Who were they? What was their early lives like, and why and how did they become so evil? I will answer that and more in this video as I take you down the perspective mind of a serial killer. Of two serial killers. Now, in this video, it might just look like I am talking about everything that Paul did, but Karla is just as guilty too. Paul Kenneth Bernardo, born August 27th, 1964, also known as Paul Jason Teal, is a Canadian serial rapist and killer, and dubbed the Scarborough Rapist, the schoolgirl killer, and together with his former wife Karla Homolka, one of the Ken and Barbie killers. Now, also, if you guys don't want to hear about raping or killing or anything, I'd say click off this video. But anyway. He is known for initially committing a series of rapes in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, a suburb of Toronto between 1987 and 1990, before committing 3 murders with Homolka. Among these victims was Karla's younger sister, Tammy Homolka. See, so she's not all innocent either, Karla. After his capture and conviction, Bernardo was sentenced to life imprisonment and was declared a dangerous offender, thus making it unlikely that he will ever be released from prison. Following his conviction, Bernardo confessed to to 10 more rapes committed a year before the spree, ascribed to the Scarborough rapist. Karla Homolka was given a way lighter sentence in exchange for testifying against Bernardo as part of a controversial plea deal, a controversial plea bargain, and she was released from prison in 2005 after serving, I think, 15 years or something. Early life. Paul Bernardo was born. Now we can only talk about Paul Bernardo's early life. I don't think I couldn't really find anything about Homolka, but Paul Bernardo, early life, was born in Scarborough, Ontario, on August 27th, 1964, the third and youngest of Kenneth Walter Bernardo and Marilyn Elizabeth Bernardo. Kenneth Bernardo often sexually abused Paul's older sister, Deborah, in front of other family members, and would eventually be charged with crimes involving voyeurism and pedophilia. Marilyn Bernardo often withdrew from her family due to depression and agoraphobia, eventually moving into the basement. Bernardo presented himself as being a happy and well-adjusted child despite his family's dysfunction, and was an active member of the Boy Scouts, which I am. Beneath the charming facade, however, he gradually developed pyromaniac inclinations and dark sexual fantasies, one of which involved creating a virgin farm where he would breed virgin girls to rape. After a fight between his parents in 1981, Bernardo, then aged 16, was informed by his mother that he was the result of an extramarital affair, and Kenneth was not his biological father. Repulsed, Bernardo began to call his mother a slut and a whore. She reciprocated by calling him a bastard from hell. So yeah, this family is not the greatest, to say the least. Later, after after growing weary of Bernardo's demeanoring behavior, his girlfriend left him for one of his friends. In retaliation, Bernardo set fire to all of her belongings, to which he had access. Bernardo attended Sir Wilfrid Laurier Collegiate Institute, and in 1982, the University of Toronto, Scarborough, or UTSC, where another notorious Canadian murderer, Russell Williams, was. Con- uh, coincidentally, 2 academic years behind him. Yeah, so Russell was 2 academic years behind Bernardo. And as his day job, Bernardo worked for Amway, the sales culture of which deeply affected him. Bernardo and his college friends practiced pickup techniques on young women they met in bars and were fairly successful. Bernardo delighted in humiliating his dates in public and engaging in aggressive anal intercourse in bed. His relationships became increasingly violent and unstable, and threatened to kill his partners dis- if they disclosed the abuse. In 1986, Bernardo was served with restraining orders by 2 women after he made obscene phone calls. In October of 1987, Bernardo met Karla Homolka while she was visiting Scarborough to attend a Pet Stir conference. The two shared an immediate attraction as Homolka encouraged Bernardo's. Yeah, the two shared an immediate attraction as Homolka encouraged Bernardo's sadistic sexual behavior. Investigation and release. From May to September 1990, Toronto police submitted more than 130 suspects' samples for DNA testing. Investigators received 2 tips pointing to Bernardo. The first, in June, had been filed by a bank employee, and the second from Tina Smirnis, wife of one of the 3 Smirnis brothers, who were among Bernardo's closest friends. Smirnis told detectives that Bernardo had been called in on a previous rape investigation in December of 1987, but had never been interviewed. Bernardo frequently talked about his sex life to Smirnis and said that he liked rough sex. Police interviewed Bernardo on November 20th, 1990 for 35 minutes, and Bernardo voluntarily provided DNA samples for forensic testing. When the detectives asked Bernardo why he thought he was being investigated for the rapes, he admitted that he resembled the composite. Reportedly, detectives found Bernardo more credible than Smirnis. Tammy Homolka, which is Karla Homolka's. And now we're gonna get into people who died. Tammy Homolka, which is Tammy Homolka, which is Karla Homolka's younger sister that she killed. By 1990, Bernardo had lost his job as an accountant and was smuggling cigarettes across the nearby Canada-United States border. He spent long periods of time with Homolka's family, who liked him and were unaware of his criminal activities. Although he was engaged to Karla, he had become obsessed with her younger sister, Tammy, peering in her window and entering her room to masturbate while she slept. Karla helped Bernardo by breaking the windows in her sister's room, allowing him access. According to Bernardo's testimony at trial, Karla laced spaghetti sauce with crushed Valium she had stolen from her employer at an animal clinic. Wait, Karla laced spaghetti sauce? I don't know what that means. She served it to her sister, who soon lost consciousness. Bernardo then raped Tammy while Karla watched. After 1 minute, Tammy regained consciousness. 6 months before their 1991 wedding, Karla stole the anesthetic agent halothane from the clinic. On December 23rd, 1990, Karla and Bernardo administered the sleeping pills to 15-year-old Tammy in a rum and eggnog cocktail. When Tammy lost consciousness again, Karla and Bernardo undressed her, and Karla applied the halothane-soaked cloth to get to her sister's nose and mouth. Karla wanted to give, quote, Tammy's virginity to Bernardo for Christmas. According to her, Bernardo was disappointed that he was not Karla's first sex partner. With Tammy's parents sleeping upstairs, the couple videotaped themselves raping Tammy in the basement. Tammy began to vomit, and they tried to revive her and call 911 after hiding evidence, dressing Tammy, and moving her into the bedroom. A few hours later, Tammy was pronounced dead at St. Catherine's General Hospital without regaining consciousness. And despite being observed vacuuming and washing laundry in the middle of the night, and despite a chemical burn on Tammy's face, the regional municipality of Niagara, of Niagara, no, Niagara, of Niagara, of Niagara, yeah, coroner, and Karla's family accepted the couple's version of events. The official cause of Tammy's death was ruled accidental, the result of choking on vomit after consumption of alcohol. But she did drink alcohol, the eggnog and the rum. But that wasn't it. After Tammy's death, Bernardo and Karla videotaped themselves engaging in sexual intercourse, with Karla wearing Tammy's clothing and pretended to be her. They moved out of Homolka's house and rented a bungalow in Port Dalhousie to allow Karla's parents to grieve. Now another victim, Leslie Mahaffey. Early in the morning on June 15th, 1991, while detouring through Burlington to steal license plates, Bernardo came across 14-year-old Leslie Mahaffey. Mahaffey had been locked out of her house for missing curfew after attending a friend's wake, not knowing that her wake would be next. Bernardo left his car and approached Mahaffey, saying that he wanted to break. Approached Mahaffey, saying that he wanted to break into a neighbor's house. Unfazed, she asked if he had any cigarettes. While Bernardo led her to his car, he blindfolded her and forced her into the car, drove her to Port Dalhousie, and informed Homolka that they had a victim. Bernardo and Homolka videotaped themselves torturing and sexually abusing Mahaffey, while they listened to pop music. At one point, Bernardo said, "You're doing a good job, Leslie, a damn good job." Adding, the next 2 hours you are going to determine what I do to you. Right now, you're scoring perfect. On another segment of tape played at Bernardo's trial, the assault escalated. Mahaffey cried out in pain and begged Bernardo to stop. In the Crown description of the scene, he was sodomizing her while her hands were bound with twine. Mahaffey later told Bernardo that her blindfold seemed to be slipping, which signaled the possibility that she could identify her attackers if she lived. The following day, Bernardo claimed Homolka fed her a lethal dose of halcyon. Homolka claimed that Bernardo strangled her. They put Mahaffey's body in their basement the day before Homolka's family had dinner at the house. Following the dinner party, Bernardo and Homolka decided to dismember Mahaffey's body and encase each part of her remains in cement. Bernardo bought a dozen bags of cement at a hardware store the following day. He'd kept the receipts, which were damaging at his trial. After Bernardo cut apart the body using his grandfather's circular saw, the couple made a number of trips to dump the cement blocks in Lake Gibson, 18 kilometers or 11 miles south of Port Dalhousie. At least one of the blocks weighed 90 kilograms or 200 pounds and was beyond their ability to sink. It lay near the shore and may need abil- and was beyond their ability to sink. It lay near the shore where it was found on June 29th, 1991, coincidentally on Bernardo and Homolka's wedding day. Mahaffey's orthodontic appliance was instrumental in identifying her. Several days before Homolka's release from prison in July 2005, Bernardo was interviewed by police and his lawyer, Tony Bryant. According to Bryant, Bernardo stated that he had always intended to free the girls he and Homolka had kidnapped. However, when Mahaffey's blindfold fell off, Homolka was concerned that Mahaffey would identify Bernardo and report the couple to the police. Bernardo claimed that Homolka planned to murder Mahaffey by injecting an air bubble into her bloodstream, triggering an air embolism. Now we go to the last victim, Kristen French. During the after-school hours of April 16th, 1992, Bernardo and Homolka drove through St. Catharines to look for potential victims. Although students were still going home, the streets were generally empty. As they passed Holy Cross Secondary School, the couple spotted 15-year-old Kristen French walking home. After they pulled into the parking lot of a nearby Grace Lutheran Church, Homolka got out of the car carrying a map, pretending to need assistance. When French looked at the map, Bernardo attacked from behind and forced her into the front seat of the car at knife point. From the seat, Homolka subdued French by pulling her hair. After French failed to arrive home, her parents became convinced that she met with foul play and notified police. Within 24 hours, the Niagara Regional Police Service, or NRP, assembled a team, searched French's after-school route, and found several witnesses who had seen the abduction from different locations. French's shoe, recovered from the parking lot, underscored the seriousness of the abduction. Over the Easter weekend, Bernardo and Homolka videotaped themselves torturing and raping and sodomizing French, forcing her to drink large amounts of alcohol and submit to Bernardo. At his trial, Crown Prosecutor Ray Houlihan said that Bernardo always intended to kill French because she was never blindfolded and could identify her captors easily. The following day, Bernardo and Homolka murdered French before going to the Homolkas' for Easter dinner. Homolka testified at her trial that Bernardo strangled French for 7 minutes while she watched. Bernardo claimed that Homolka beat French with a rubber mallet because she tried to escape, and French was strangled with a noose around her neck, which was secured to a hope chest. Homolka then went to fix her hair. French's nude body was found on April 30th, 1992, in a ditch in Burlington, about 45 minutes from St. Catharines and a short distance from the cemetery where Mahaffey is buried. She had been washed and her hair was cut off, although it was thought that the hair was removed as a trophy. Homolka testified that it was cut to impede identification and arrest. Homolka and Bernardo were questioned by police several times in connection with the Scarborough rapist investigation, Tammy Homolka's death, and Bernardo's stalking of other women before French's abduction. On May 12, 1992, Bernardo was briefly interviewed by an NRP sergeant and constable who decided that he was unlikely suspect despite his admission that he had previously been questioned in the connection to the Scarborough rapist. 3 days later, the Green Ribbon Task Force was created to investigate the murders of Mahaffey and French. Bernardo and Homolka had applied to have their names legally changed to Teal, which Bernardo had taken from the serial killer in the 1988 film Criminal Law. At the end of May, John Motile, an acquaintance of Smyrnis and Bernardo, reported Bernardo as a possible suspect in the murders. In December of 1992, the Center of Forensic Sciences finally began testing DNA samples provided by Bernardo 2 years earlier. On the 27th of December, Bernardo severely beat Homolka with a flashlight, leaving multiple bruises, claiming that she had been in an automobile accident. Homolka returned to work on the 4th of January 1993. Her skeptical coworkers called her parents, and although they rescued her the following day by physically removing her from Bernardo's house, Homolka went back to frantically search for something. Homolka's parents took her to St. Catharines General Hospital, where she gave a statement to the NRP that she was a battered spouse and filed charges against Bernardo. He was arrested and later released on his own recognizance. His own recognizance. A friend who found Bernardo's suicide note and intervened, and Homolka moved in with relatives in Brampton. Alright, now we go to arrest. 26 months after Bernardo submitted a DNA sample, Toronto police were informed that it matched that of the Scarborough rapist, and immediately placed him under 24-hour surveillance. Metro Toronto Sexual Assault Squad investigators interviewed Homolka on February 9th of 1993. Despite hearing their suspicions about Bernardo, she focused on his abuse of her. Later that night, Homolka told her aunt and uncle that Bernardo was a Scarborough rapist, and that she and Bernardo were involved in the rape and murder of Mahaffey and French, and that the rapes were recorded on videotape. The NRP subsequently reopened its investigation of Tammy Homolka's death. 2 days later, Homolka met with Niagara Falls lawyer George Walker, who sought legal immunity from Crown Prosecutor Houlihan in exchange for her cooperation. She was also placed under 24-hour surveillance. The the couple's names change was approved on February 13th, 1993. The next day, Walker met Crown Criminal Law Enforcement Director Murray Siegel after Walker told Siegel about the videotapes. Siegel advised him that due to Homolka's involvement in the crimes, full immunity was not a possibility. On February 17th, detectives arrested Bernardo on several charges and obtained a search warrant. Because his link to the murder was weak, the warrant was limited. No evidence, which was not expected and documented in the warrant, could be removed from his property, and all videotapes found by police had to be viewed in the house. Damage had to be kept to a minimum. The police could not tear down walls looking for the tapes. The search of the house, including updated warrants, lasted 71 days, and the only tape found by police had a brief segment of Homolka performing oral sex on Jane Doe, which we don't. Jane Doe basically means a victim that no one knows the name of. During a call from jail, Bernardo told his lawyer Ken Murray. I think that's a different Murray. Yeah, I think it's that the rape videos were hidden in a ceiling light fixture in the upstairs bathroom. Murray found the tapes and hid them from investigators. After Murray resigned as Bernardo's lawyer, his new attorney, John Rosen, turned the tapes over to the police. On May 5th, Walker was informed that the government was offering Homolka a plea bargain of 12 years imprisonment, which she had 1 week to accept. If she declined, the government would charge her with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of second-degree murder, and other crimes. Walker accepted the offer, and Homolka later agreed to it. On May 14th, Homolka's plea bargain was finalized, and she began giving statements to police investigators. She told police that Bernardo boasted that he had raped as many as 30 women, twice as many as police suspected. Now, I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but I would have to pause this video and continue because I am late for my doctor's appointment as it is. So after the doctor's appointment, I will continue this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later in like 2 hours or so. Peace.